Good evening, it's Joyful Hermit. I'm going to try to keep going with some videos. Actually, the next fruit of the Spirit that I wanted to talk about is a fruit of the Spirit, is the fruit of peace. And wow, have I needed that. My last, since Friday, just 3 days, 4 days has been hectic and unexpected. I had no kidney issues that I knew of until I felt some pain last Thursday. And here it is Tuesday night. And that pain just came and went. And then Friday it came, stayed a little more, but I had the dry mouth all week. So that ended up, they said I was dehydrated, very dehydrated, and didn't even realize it. And probably for the last 3 weeks, 3 weeks ago tonight was when I first had the neighbor called EMS for me because food and liquid wasn't even getting from my stomach into the intestines. Well, I was thinking some kind of intestinal issue, but that would have been the kidneys weren't working well enough to cause the organs to have enough fresh blood or oxygenated blood or something, and not enough liquid to function properly. There was swelling going on. So now I have this altered voice, which comes from dryness. And then yesterday in the ER, they immediately took chest x-ray to check my heart and my lungs to see if they were being pressed by pressure from having swelled. But I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but evidently okay. But you get to the point with kidney failure that you have a hard time breathing. Like I remember I used to, have to take a deep breath, and I still might, like now, and sort of get another boost of energy in the lungs to speak. And I notice now I have kidney pain all the time, even though I'm on opioids. But what they think caused this is I had taken meloxicam, also called Mobic, for years. It's an anti-inflammatory. And then also the digestive specialist over a year ago told me with my intestines and my spinal issues to go ahead and take what's it called? Not meloxicam. Oh, it's a powder that you put into liquid. Think of it. Miralax. To take Miralax more than once a day. He said take it as often as you think you can use it, need it into your water that you're drinking, or your juice or coffee. I don't drink coffee anymore because it upsets me, but tea. And so I was doing that, and I have since read that can cause kidney failure, kidney damage. But it says on the instructions, only take once a day unless your doctor orders otherwise. Well, my doctor had. And at some point in time, I'll let them know that contributed to this. But the meloxicam, they think, was the main culprit. And I haven't taken it much lately, not since my knee replacement. I wasn't allowed to take it during that time period because it thins the blood also. But anyway, just little tips if you're not familiar with kidney disease, kidney failure. And I don't know, I started swelling yesterday. My extremities swelled, and they're still swollen. My hands used to be very bony. Now there's puffy on them, and my ankles are all puffy, and my legs and things. So, and my face is fuller than it would be normally. I'm actually very thin person. And you lose, just in case you aren't familiar with this, you really lose appetite. it's hard for me to eat much. I sip a lot. Water's best, and I put a little slice of ginger in or some cardamom pod in just to flavor it a little. And I've started reading about the diet you should be on. So I'm going to have to readjust my eating. Something like I read avocado isn't good. And I had just purchased 3 little avocados. My neighbor's going to get a windfall of different foods. But anyway, that's what I've got. And just sudden, really. And last night, the ER doctor was excellent. And he consulted with the head of nephrology, kidney specialist, for this area, for the hospital system, who said that he thought that this could be turned around. Now, that's not to say that the damage will go away. I don't know the extent of the damage. And my pain doctor was the one that had me go back to the emergency room because I called. I didn't have a general practitioner right now. At least I thought I didn't. I was told he was going to another hospital system, the VA, and that I needed to find another GP. But it turns out he's not leaving till the end of February. But I had contacted the pain doctor to say that my feet and arms and hands and legs were swollen and that I was having trouble breathing. And my voice had changed and was feeling very sick. And he looked up my numbers online through the hospital, the ERs that I'd been to, and was very alarmed and sent back the message, tell her to get back to ER right away. You know, her kidneys are, she shouldn't have this kind of swelling. And so again today, but I couldn't really get anyone with the kidney specialist that I'll be going to, his nurse practitioner even, that's who I'll have an appointment with. And the earliest I can get in is in a week, and which is a favor, but it's not with the doctor himself. That could maybe take months, I didn't realize how many people suffer from kidney disease. And older people can get it automatically. My sister in Texas texted me and said she's at stage 3 or something, just from being older. Well, I've never been into my body, into the doctoring that much to know much, but I don't know what level I'll be at, but it's probably 4 or such. I don't know. And my sister also kept saying, don't look up anything. Don't look up anything. Her daughter, I guess, warned her not to. My sister has anxiety disorder. And I pointed out, I said, well, it makes a difference. She says it's called awfulizing. Awfulizing. Some counselor had told her that. I said, it depends on why you look up information. I said, I call it information gathering. And I said, I feel better and calmer when I have facts, when I know a little bit more educate myself about what it is and what's ahead. And because she says, well, you don't know if you're going to need dialysis. I said, I'm in so much agony. I welcome dialysis. I think I need it right now. It would take the swelling down, and it would cause my intestines to function again, because I had a terrible, painful attack earlier today. I think air was trying to move through, but they're so dry, and my stomach is so dry. That's why my esophagus is dry. It's hard to swallow, like bone broth. I had the last of the bone broth that my handyman brought me a second time today, and it was hard to swallow because everything is off kilter from the kidneys, not filtering the blood properly. So that's kidney disease. And I feel sort of a viewer commented, and I agree. And I've been too busy just trying to keep track of getting myself to ER and stuff to think about it. But the suffering will be more lengthened and worse. So it's going to be more suffering to offer for souls and to offer Christ and to suffer more in kind with what he suffered. His organs shut down on the cross when they had him hanging there. All of that pressure and gravity pull on his body and on his organs, and would have been a tremendous slow organ failure that he went through. And then when they stabbed him also, but he was already dead then. But think of that suffering, and maybe it was 2 or 3 hours, but to him, to the one suffering, it can seem like eons of suffering, to suffer to the extent that Christ did. And his suffering, of course, was made horrific because he was pure love. He was God suffering. And to have pure love and perfection suffering, the suffering then is magnified. So I have a lot of impurity in me. I'm not pure love. So my suffering is mixed up with a lot of temporal crud still in me. And the other thing I've thought about is what a blessing to know pretty much what's going to kill me. Because arachnoiditis does not kill the person. It's always something else connected to the arachnoiditis, such as, unless a stroke or something would come along, something sudden like that, but likely it's going to be this kidney failure that will kill me. And there you can just read online what it's going to be like. And that's what, if you take that information and worry about it or let it upset you. But I have the advantage of a death experience that even though I tell people, or I can tell my sister that I had this death experience, it doesn't have the impact on them that it does on me. I'll always remember that. So I don't fear death. So to read about how the last few days of kidney failure, that your bones feel like they are literally shaking and rattling, and terrible pain in the bones and in the teeth and all of that, I know it's going to be horrific, but it doesn't somehow upset me. And as my sister, though, said, well, don't look, because you don't know yet if this is going to, if you're even going to have dialysis. You're awfulizing. No, I'm information gathering, and if I don't experience those symptoms, I'll at least be aware of them, because now the door is open for me to have great empathy for all the people who do have kidney disease. And just by the fact it's hard to even get an appointment when you're in sort of an extreme case, and they won't even give me any information. I said, can you tell me if I need to go back to the hospital because I'm swollen up again today? And because I know if I would call the pain doctor, he would say to. But I figure, why go? They do the IV on me, and I'm helped a little that evening. It was 4 hours I had to wait in the lobby, and my back is hurting today because their seats are soft and padded. And I was too weak to stand or walk around, so it's not worth it to me to go to ER unless they could actually do something that would really help. But the IVs haven't really helped me. Not for long, anyway, maybe a few hours in the night but I woke up just all swollen again. So, but they say, no, we cannot give you any medical information until you've actually been seen by us. It must be an insurance thing or a fear of lawsuits or even efficiency. You know, why start helping someone who then may not show up for their appointment? Maybe it's that. I don't know. We live in a different kind of world. We live in the world. We're not to be of it, but we are in it. And so I decided that as long as I can cope, I'll stay home and try to make it till next Monday. And if I can't, then I'll go to the ER again, knowing, though, that they'll do IVs. And I suppose if I get dry enough, if it gets enough pain, then I'll have to go, or somebody will have to take me. But and also, since I can't eat much because I know it's not going to be eliminated, I'll get into one of those horrible vomiting attacks again, where the stomach distends out because nothing can get through. It's too dry and it's too swollen. All the organs are swelling. So that's kidney disease. So I looked up peace. I thought, what a good next fruit of the Spirit to cover in our desire to do what we can in this lifetime, to come to God's purity of love, as much as we can cooperate with God's pure love in this life. So peace was after joy. We had love, then we had joy, and now peace. And I just looked up, there's many, many scriptures. You can Google them, but here's some of them. Jesus said this, "In me you will have peace. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety." And I think all these verses on peace are so important because it's making the difference in me to remain peaceful and calm than to be anxiety-ridden and upset and worry and fret. But I admit I'm blessed. I'm very blessed that I don't have anxiety disorder. That's a disorder that can happen to people, and they can't really help it. So have compassion if you know anyone like that. I do. My sister was born with some chemical imbalance of depression. And then after marriage and things, it developed into anxiety, or maybe was as a child also. But it was a very hard thing to have. And back in the 50s and early 60s, where we lived in a small town in the Midwest, no one went to therapy or anything. But fortunately, she and her husband lived in a large city. And back in the in 1990, when she had a breakdown, they got much needed, excellent therapy, and she has excellent doctors, physical doctors too. She suffers from lymphoma, of all things for her to have. So she knows from experience and was trying to guide me, thinking that I too would get upset because she had looked up all these different aspects of cancer with lymphoma, and it upset her. So her daughter said, "Don't do that, you're awfulizing." And a counselor said, "Yes, you're awfulizing." So I think it's wise advice not to look ahead unless you're okay with it, unless you're utilizing the information peacefully as a matter of just information. And I like to, then there won't be so many surprises. And like I said, I'd like to know what will be done. I found out you can even have dialysis at home now. But I'm really incapacitated now between the pain, my spine pain of arachnoiditis, and this kidney failure. So, of course, I would welcome dialysis. It's nothing that scares me or bothers me. And these scriptures of peace help emphasize just how important this fruit is in our lives. To live peace, to become one with peace, the Prince of Peace, and the God of Peace, the Spirit of Peace. They're all listed in Scripture. So here's one from 1 Thessalonians 5:23. God himself, the God of peace, sanctify you through and through. Or maybe that was from Psalm 4:8. Yeah, that was Psalm 4:8. Thessalonians. Now may the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times and in every way. The Lord be with all of you. That is from 2 Thessalonians. The one from Psalms 4:8 is, may God himself, the God of peace, sanctify you through and through. This one is from Philippians 4:9. And the God of peace be with you. That's a lovely thing that we say during church mass, during services, and Protestants do also. Peace be with you. And the other person says back, and with you also. Or, and peace be with you also. Isaiah 26:3. You keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you. The Lord blesses his people with peace. That's another one that's beautiful. I don't have the scripture citing for that one. But the Lord blesses people with peace. John 14:27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. That's a very good one for anyone who's found out they have kidney failure and have all these symptoms, and no one will say if it's a life-threatening or if it's something you need to be in the hospital for. But last night, a lovely young nurse said, I said, well, do I get to go home, or are they keeping me, or what? It's getting late. And the IV was nearly done, and she said, well, she said, with kidney patients, there's really nothing we can do here in the hospital. Once we've done the IV, and they did a different one last night that was supposed to, within 24 hours, suck the fluid back into my body because it had been sucked up to the surface, out to my outer skin, above a certain layer of skin. That's why my hands were all puffy and I couldn't see the bones that usually look like skeleton hands. And the young nurse said, well, what do you mean, skeleton? I said, well, have you ever seen an old lady and how their hands look like a skeleton? And of course, oh, you're not old. I said, now listen. I said, it's all right. I'm not one that you have to try to say, because I'm a realist and I know how old I am. But I said, I have the old lady skeleton hands normally. So we had a laugh about that. She was trying to be very diplomatic. But anyway, that was, it can be very disconcerting. Like earlier today when I was having such intestinal pain and I didn't know, what was going on at all. Was this it, or do I need to call for help? Or you get to that point, and then I just thought, just calm down, peace. And that's when I decided I would do this. I would look up all these verses on peace. And that one, may the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times and in every way. The Lord be with all of you. And I like it, that other one, my peace I leave with you, my peace I bequeath you. I like that word, bequeath. And when my mother was dying of pulmonary fibrosis, she had never been a smoker, but it came upon her suddenly. It was a tremendous shock to her that she had it. And they gave her, I think, a couple of years to live, and she was determined she wanted to make it to 90, which would have been more like 7 years or 8 years to live. But she made it maybe 3 years after she found out, to 86 and a half. But I in their old farmhouse that her great-grandfather had built, Italianate farmhouse, above the doors were transoms with glass, and they were tearing that down, and I went out to the farmhouse and got some of the transoms, and I refinished the poplar wood around it. I think it was poplar or walnut even, beautiful. And the glass was the homemade that was sort of wavery, very old, 1800s, and I scripted in Old English script this verse from John. Let me repeat, John 14:27. And I just scripted my peace I bequeath you. And we hung it in her nursing home room because you could see through the glass to the wall, and I had to actually paint it in reverse. I did a stencil and then reversed it from the opposite side and used a little gilt embellishment on the letters. And it looked beautiful. And when she died, I gave it to the financial advisor. And I don't know, he's retired now, what he did with that. I ought to call and find out where that is. Hopefully it's being utilized. But if I felt better, I'd make one for myself. But I have it in my mind and in my heart. But I like instead of my peace I give you, I like my peace I bequeath you. Bequeath is more powerful. It's like a bestowing. It's like a spiritual gifting of something. And it's just so elegant compared to my peace I give you. That's nice. We'll take it. We'll take God's peace any day, Jesus' peace. But to have it bequeathed upon us to me, just seems very, very special, otherworldly. So, that was John 14:27. Romans 16:20. The God of peace will soon crush Satan under your feet. The God of peace will soon crush Satan under your feet. Here's from Colossians 3:15. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you are called to peace, and be thankful. From Hebrews 12:14. Make every effort to live in peace with everyone, and to be holy. Without holiness, no one will see the Lord. I think this was the NIV translation. I might tomorrow in daylight look some of these up in the New American Standard Bible, which is considered to be the best translation we have in current times, the 1995 edition of the NASB. Now here's another, Psalm 37:37. Consider the blameless, observe the upright. A future awaits those who seek peace. Consider the blameless, observe the upright. A future awaits those who seek peace. So that's a beautiful one also. There were many more. I didn't even get deep into the Psalms. That happened to be Psalm 37:37. There's many in the Psalms on peace. But I think probably the most familiar to us is the one in John where Jesus says, my peace I bequeath you. Jesus is called the Prince of Peace. God is in one of these called the God of Peace. There's the Spirit of Peace. And I left out the fruit of the Spirit. Peace is listed as we're going through the fruit of the Spirit. So that's Galatians 5:22. And this is the third fruit of the Spirit, is peace. So I happen to think that they're listed in importance. And love is, of course, utmost importance. Joy is closely linked to love. And peace comes next because it's necessary for us. My sister was right to warn me about awfulizing because I was in shock that I have this. And, but it's all making sense to me. The more I research it, the more sense I make of, I can put it all together, all these symptoms then. And that brings me a temporal type of peace, of being able to see how it has worked. And I've been sort of amazed that God has had this bee come to me. I kept hoping and thinking he would get me so that I could improve enough to finish the house. But he's showing me that is not important to him. Or that he wants the handyman doing it, perhaps. Or me to hire someone else, because there's much good in hiring people and having them around us. Because he's the one I called on Saturday to get me from the one hospital that had good people in it, but they weren't focusing on what my problem was. It just seemed like it was wrong way every way. So, and then when my pain doctors, on-call doctor said, you need to try to get to the other hospital system. It will be much better. And they have been. They've been excellent and very laser focused on anything to do with the kidneys, and very careful in taking tests and things. So very professional. So, but the handyman came and got me, and I let him know tonight that I was back home, and I think he's going to come Thursday. But I thought this is something for him. He's fallen away from church, and this, my presence or something I might say might encourage him, or how I handle this situation. And maybe once I'm on dialysis, if I am, or if I get some kind of medicine, maybe there's some medicine for this. I haven't researched that part enough, but there might be. But it is going to be tricky now because I can't take the Miralax, and I can't take meloxicam, but I haven't the meloxicam for a while. But the Miralax, I'm not sure how I'll be able to eat. Maybe the altered diet will help that somewhat. But with my arachnoiditis pain, it complicates matters a great deal. But God has chosen this for me. This is, I think, going to be my chosen way of passing. So, I feel rather honored to know. I think most people don't know how they're going to die unless they get cancer, and then they know that's their way. But for the most part, I don't know if that many people, percentage-wise, die, say, well, I know a lot die of sudden heart attacks. Most of them know they have bad hearts. But in accidents, accidental deaths, those are sudden. Strokes, I don't know what the percentages are, but I guess I feel grateful that I know, and I should have an idea, maybe even as soon as next Monday, of the length of time. My one regret when I thought this through over the weekend, my one regret, I think when I was still in the hospital, and you do sort of feel a sense of shock of, whoa, this, I had no clue that I had, that kidneys was happening and that they had failed. They said acute kidney failure. And so I regretted, though, that I hadn't started my ministry, my mission sooner, and I haven't written my books. And my videos are sort of, they're going to pot right now even. My voice is hard to listen to, and my mind is very, I have hallucinations during the day and night, little odd flashes of strange things, slices of bologna. Was bologna, that lunch meat. I had that when I was a child. I would eat that, but just odd, bizarre flashes of images in my mind and words that were nonsensical. And that's because the brain isn't getting clean blood either, isn't getting what it needs. So it's been an interesting experience. But my dogs, yes, they were very happy to have the old lady home. And they fuss up on the bed then. Lovey tries to get over and shove Mercy out of the way. And if I turn on my laptop, he paws at me because, stop that, pet me, nonstop. He would want that, but they're in their crates for bed now. Anyway, God bless His real presence in us. Thank you for the prayers, and I don't know if we'll just see about the videos. If I don't have anything of worth to share, it's probably better that I try to write, although I'm not sure my mind is even up to that kind of focus of writing. I'll have to rely on the Lord and the Holy Spirit to do it for me. Have miraculous type of sharing, I guess, if God so wishes. Have a beautiful evening, and let us continue in His presence, striving now in peace to become one with peace as part of our journey into becoming love, pure love. Have a good night's rest, all of you.